I don't think love should be that complicated. Here's the other thing. I've also read How to Not Die Alone. It's a good book. It's informative. It like is very logical and logistical. It keeps you in the space that you would assume that it would keep you in. It's not like It's not overly romantic. It's very like straightforward. Who are you chasing after? What are you chasing after them for? Be decisive with your momentums in relationships. Don't decide or don't slide, decide. So don't let yourself just sort of slip into a relationship and then slip into living together and then slip into marriage. Like, make these decisions firm. What does moving in together mean to you? What does starting a relationship mean to you? What does going from openly dating to being exclusive mean to you? Have these conversations, have these discussions. These are very like straightforward things, but they're also like important things to like remind yourself of. And there's also a really good chapter. There are two chapters in here that are about like breakups. I, in the process of going through a breakup, I have been for like a month ish, little over a month now. I mean, a month and a half, whatever. And in it, like, there's the section about breakups. I even told my therapist that this is like it's got good stuff, and I think it's like relatable. Anyways, I think love should be less complicated. Um, I think that as humans, we like to complicate a lot of things, and so I think that even as a person who just personally thinks too much, I genuinely feel like we may be overcomplicating like what love is and like what it needs to be and what we need to do with it and how do we interact with love and how we should allow love to flow through us. Now, I will add the caveat that like All About Love does a much better job of like going through the phases of like what love is. I thought that I wanted to make a video about what All About Love really like does for me, but I don't necessarily think I need to. I think that the things that I've taken away from All About Love are the things that I've taken away from All About Love, and that is kind of just what it needs to be. Bell Hooks does a really good job of breaking down like a good description of what love should be. I'm turning my TV off. A good description of what love should be and like how we should interact with love on the basis of community, on the basis of friendships, on the basis of romantic love, on the basis of family and care and understanding that like we should treat children as people and we don't as a society, and that's a big issue, and that's probably one of the like reasons that a lot of things in society are so messed up because children don't have like personhood. um and it even breaks down like why like love shouldn't be something so completely divided across the board, and instead it's be something that's more focused on uh, like the overarching thing, which she defines it as like, hold on, I got it in my notes, so I'm just gonna read it. She defines it as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. And I think that's like a pretty good like summation of what love is. Maybe it's not good if you're somebody who doesn't really necessarily believe in like the idea that humans have a spirit. Like, then purport it or like change that little one instrumentation to another's growth. Like, you don't have to add the spirit in it, but one like to extend yourself to like help somebody grow is really that's it. And I think that's a beautiful like way to look at it. I think it should be that simple though, or maybe it should be more complicated. Maybe certain instances of love should be more complicated. But I genuinely feel like, as a person who has gone through many different instances of like what love is and what I thought like love that I was chasing after was supposed to be, it like it makes you like look at the situation. And I've been having like this ongoing conversation with myself, with friends, about like me returning myself to like being in love with like life as a whole. I've like always loved like life to a certain degree, but I think as like life goes on, you get older and you run into people who kind of begrudgingly throw their poor dispositions about life onto you, and as a result, you end up being kind of like you end up taking some of that on you. Maybe you look at certain situations and you're like, this has to turn out a certain way. Um, but when you were younger, it was kind of just like, I did it because I wanted to do it, and that's it. That's period. It was simple. You drew a painting, or like you painted because you had an idea and you wanted to put it on a piece of paper, and that was it. It didn't need to reach anybody. It didn't need to be this huge magnifying thing. It just was what it was. It was just something you wanted to create, and you did it because you like really enjoyed it. You deeply like appreciated what it was. You didn't like make the friends you were making because you had some ulterior motive for what the outcome could be. They could replace this person or be this thing for you. Instead, it was just like, I like this person. I want them to be my friend. As you like interact with like romantic relationships up front, your initial reaction probably isn't like, I need this to be like the end. It's just, I like this person. And that's it. I like kind of just want to like this person. But as you get older, it turns into like this thing where it's like, I like this person, and I hope that this person doesn't hurt me like the last person hurt me, and I hope that things will be different, and maybe I'm selecting better, and I genuinely need this to be something else. And you put so much energy on it, you put so much effort, you put so much mental you exhaust so much mental effort onto this thing, onto this person, hoping that they will just simply like alleviate all the problems you have been facing since then. And when they don't, sucks. It sucks. Like that hurts. And it's genuinely disparaging. Like you sit with it and you're like, dang it, this one didn't work out the way I wanted it to. That sucks. And this kind of ties into is a little bit of a spoiler for One Piece. If you've never seen One Piece, this may not be helpful to you. If you have, cool. If you're just starting, this won't be really much of a spoiler. There's a character in One Piece. His name is Sanji. Um, when I was younger, I really loved Sanji, and this also ties into this whole concept of like me returning back to like loving life. I really loved Sanji. As like I got older and went through life and dealt with all of these things that I'm listening to you, I started to feel like I shouldn't love Sanji as much as I did, and so slowly but surely I started to back off of it. I was like, I don't really need to be as big of a fan of Sanji as I once was. But to me, Sanji was like a beautifully constructed character. He was endearing, he was caring, and at the end of like at the root of all of it, like he was loving, and not just like he presented love as if it needed to be with with consequence or have some sort of tie to you. He gave Gin food, knowing that like, yeah, this dude's a pirate, yeah, he's probably gonna come here and like mess up the situation that I have going on, but like nobody deserves to like go hungry. Nobody deserves to be in such a like tough position when I have the ability to provide that for you. And as like time goes on, you to spend more time with Sanji, and you see that like it's not just that he cares in a nurturing way that comes from like giving food out. It's also that he cares in like a way that is very much like he's taking notes and protecting the crew and those around him and those people that we form friendships with as we go through this series. And he's taking note of who he knows is going to go overboard, who he knows is going to need the extra nurturing, who needs the extra protection, who needs just tough love. And he exhibits it all without question, without hesitation. It is just simply who he is. And I just think that's beautiful. Like I think that's dope. I when I was a kid, I saw so much value in just being that person. But as like time went on, perhaps because I have a tendency to like overgive, or perhaps because when going through society you start to like recognize that like everybody is not, that was a mosquito, everybody is not like on the same page as, why is there a mosquito in my room, this is crazy. As you like get older, you realize that like everybody's not on the same page, and I don't know, people will take advantage of having such an open heart. People take advantage of being so okay with love, and it kind of hurts. Then you harden up like everybody else, and you start to throw up some walls or conditions or like rules and ramifications that come for you when people take advantage of the the kind heartedness you have. You withdraw, and you don't give it to certain people. You have hesitancies, and like slowly over time, like calcium or calcius, your heart starts to calcify. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Slowly over time, your heart starts to like calcify a little bit. You start to genuinely resent giving out the love that you're giving out. And the other connection to this is like the thing that like made me like click was like music. Not music because I make music, but music because I was I went home during the holiday season, Thanksgiving holiday season. Or no, Christmas holiday season. I went home for the Christmas holiday season. I live in LA right now. I'm from Austin. I went home to Austin, and I spent a lot of time with like friends and family, and going through the motions and traveling all over, and it was a good time. I got to like spend some like well deserved time with my mom. It was like, and my stepdad. It was all good times. And there's bumps in the road, but like it was kind of just like whatever. And it was, as I like reflected on it recently, the song came on that I kept playing as I was gone. And I realized that this random Dijon song that I was playing, that like came from an album that I felt like I really couldn't resonate with because I wasn't in the right place to resonate with it. That just felt like it was about like being in love, and like having so much love for like life, but also just like the person that you would finally found. I went home, and like the album was hitting. The album was doing everything it needed to do. And I was like, this is crazy. I love this album. This album is making me feel amazing. I gotta play this album the whole time I'm home. I'm never turning this album off. And the thing I realized is that like going home away from LA, after having been living in LA for like 3 years and visiting home intermittently, like maybe once a year, um, but like having done this like battle with myself before, just before moving, and being like, okay, like 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 finding myself okay with where I was in life, and being like, honestly, if this is the worst that like my life will ever look like, I'm not really mad about it. I can accept the like life that I'm living now. And then in that moment, a week, 2 weeks later, getting the chance to move to LA, and everything becoming a flurry of things, me going through the process of moving to LA, and like having me going through the process of like moving to LA, and like doing all of these things, but like getting hit with the the, the, the disgruntledness, the overarching like emotional like heaviness that comes with living in LA, from people who are like have been chasing their dreams for years, 3 years, 5 years, some people 8 years, and it's just not taken. The city is beating them down, the industry is beating them down. They are fighting, but it's hard. And I went home and none of that existed there. I didn't have to think about any of that anymore. And I and I and as I was listening to this song, I realized the reason that like I had such a good time when I was home is because it was the first time in a very long time that I gave myself permission to just like love freely, have my heart open, um, and just accept that life was coming in the way that life was coming, and just do it, and just like let life come. And it was simple. It was simple, and this is why I say that like maybe love should be more simple. Maybe not the simplest thing in the world, but like maybe love should be a little more easy, a little less complicated. Maybe things should flow just simply in that way: acceptance, understanding, and then like like existing on that like comfortable resting motion that as you open yourself up, the world will open back up to you. And I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind whenever I start reading this. My therapist recommended this to me, The Mastery of Love. So maybe I'll change my mind once I start getting in here and I dig a little deeper and I find that maybe love might need to be a little bit more complicated, but not terribly. Or maybe this will confirm my biases. You never know what could happen. Um, so yeah, that's my take. That's my catch up with you and catch up with Cam. Um, maybe love should just be less complicated. Maybe love is supposed to be simple. Maybe you should make friends and it shouldn't be so much tension. This doesn't say that you shouldn't be able to argue with your friends, because growth sometimes requires that like argument, that pushback. Sometimes growth requires that like let me get you to where you're going, like let me get you to where you need to be. And the same with like a romantic relationship. Maybe the evidence is right there in front of us all the time. Maybe if there's so much to overcome up front, maybe it's a sign that you gotta let it go. Maybe if there's a bunch to overcome in a friendship up front, it's a sign you gotta let it go. Maybe yeah, maybe and this isn't to say that like you shouldn't fight as a couple either. Like you like once again, there the tension will always exist. But there's areas where like maybe it should just be easy. Maybe it should just slide together. Maybe maybe love should be simple.